Hi there, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Weather Out West. And well, what is Weather Out West? Well, Weather Out West is a show that we showcase what's happening here across the western part of the United States. And that can be from anywhere across the Pacific Northwest to the Mountain West to California and all the way down to Arizona and the Southwest. I'm going to be your host today, meteorologist Adam Claiborne, and we are going to first get into what's happening in Denver because, well, we have a special weather presentation for you because we do have that fall foliage beginning to peak across some of the parts there in the Rockies. And we do have a front that's going to be passing through as we head into the weekend too. Could mean some showers. Meteorologists Kathy Sabin and Jada Knowles have the details.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. And the first few days of October have been unbelievable. The color in the sky and also on the ground with the trees from gold to red to orange has been spectacular. Many talking about last weekend as being peak for the fall foliage, but I think you'll still have plenty of opportunities over the next 72 hours to take your best friend or your family and get out and enjoy the wonderful Colorado outdoors. High pressure is going to hang on for another 24 to 36 hours before a trough approaches from the west. Most of the precip, cold air and energy will go north of us, but we'll tap into enough of it that we'll actually see some showers in the form of rain for Denver and for snow above about 11,000 feet. And the drought monitor indicating much of the west, southwest, and western Colorado actually could use that beneficial moisture. System is still way off to the west of us, spreading a few showers into San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle. It will bring snow to the Sierras, and eventually that system will roll into here probably on Saturday. And most of it going into the northern Rockies and Midwest, but western Colorado has a shot at seeing some beneficial rain and snow. Today, the warmest day of the week, lots of sunshine, high clouds from the southwest, not a lot of moisture until late in the day into the evening, and that's when we could see those showers from Telluride and Montrose up to Grand Junction and Steamboat. We'll start in Denver in the 50s this morning, warm to the upper 80s. The record for today is 88. I think we'll just miss that, but the average high is 73. So we're trending way above that today at 86 with mostly sunny skies. I think we'll get to 80 before the front rolls in. There's a 20% chance of showers on Saturday and Sunday. We slide into the 60s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Slight chance for a shower Tuesday, and then sunshine and 70s return the middle part of that first full week of the new month of October.
Well, last week we saw that beneficial rain, the soaking rain, and matter of fact, the drought-busting rain. If we can take a look at our graphics there it is. You can see the totals that we saw last week across the entire region. Hill Rose, about 2.5 inches. And once again, this came last week on that 23rd to 24th of September. That was that Tuesday and Wednesday. Greeley, almost close to 2 inches. Here in downtown Denver, 1.5 inches. Fort Collins, about 1.25 inches. Then Boulder, just a little bit over an inch, very close to 1.5 inches. But we told you that that wasn't going to be reflected on the drought monitor until this week. Well, newsflash, it's this week. And here's the good news about it. Our drought monitor across the entire state, still for the high country, we're still seeing that extreme conditions and also some severe conditions. You can see towards the western slope near Grand Junction, parts of Aspen, up to Steamboat Springs. But here's the good news. What we're talking about here closer into the metro area, you can see Highlands Ranch there. You're still seeing that moderate risk, or should I say the moderate drought for Highlands Ranch, but no more across Denver or parts of Aurora or Lakewood or Arvada. So that is the good news because we did definitely see that beneficial rain last week, but we really aren't expecting any more beneficial rain like that for a while. I mean, there is some rain in the forecast for this weekend that should help out, at least for the high country, a little bit. But here in the metro area, we're finally out of that drought.
All right, well, it looks like there are some warm temperatures there around Denver and across the Rockies. South and west, warm, hot. We're just going to go ahead and say that down across the desert southwest in Phoenix. Near term, more triple-digit heat, although there is a cool down on the way and possibly some rain chances in the valley. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with the details.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west across Arizona where, we saw the return of triple-digit heat yesterday. In fact, we saw the hottest spot in the nation right here in our back doors. Gila Bend peaked at 104 degrees. That's not record territory for us to break records. I mean, I know it's October, but we need those numbers upwards of 110 if we're going to see record heat. But certainly, this was above the normal range, and unfortunately, we're going to see another round of some triple-digit temps. However, because we've got a cold blast of wind entering the northern tiers of the state, that's going to kind of temper our temperatures. Our daytime highs are still elevated. This time of the year, we should be at about 94, 95 degrees. But again, we're not looking for records, and we are now seeing the numbers trend down. So across Arizona, we've got about 99 in Tucson today. I've got 96 in Yuma, 96 for Havasu, about 84 in Kingman. And remember, that high wind advisory will go into effect around 11 o'clock today, and this is going to bring in some cooler air. So while you don't feel it so much today, Sedona, with highs at 84 degrees and 71 in Flagstaff, tonight the numbers will start coming down. So wind advisory from 11 to 7 today, south winds 20 to 30 miles an hour, gust potential up to 45 miles an hour. So look at this. Our Futurecast data shows certainly by 1 o'clock, we've got sustained winds in the double digits virtually all day for the northern tier of the state. Now, Phoenix, I don't think your winds are going to start getting going until, after about 2 to 3 o'clock. And those winds should stay parked in the double digits under 20. But we've got strong winds through about 4:30. And then as soon as the sun goes down, even though we're still going to pick up the occasional double digit wind, the winds will really start to relax overnight. The impact will also start to be felt tonight into the weekend, where your daytime highs are going to come down. But first, those overnight lows need to come down. And look at this. It is going to be nice and calm Saturday and Sunday. So what's going on? Well, we've got this trough of low pressure, and it's carrying in the first snow expected for the Sierras into Colorado. There's already some snow advisories issued. Wow, that kind of tells you how chilly the system is. It's basically just brushing Arizona, and as it does, it's going to tighten up the pressure. That outflow is wind, but again, because this is a cold wind, it's going to help bring down the numbers. So yes, we are seeing temperatures that are trending down, but the long range forecast, I think, is even more interesting for rainfall. Look at this. We've got a healthy opportunity for some showers. This is tropical moisture coming in that's branching off from some tropical energy that's bubbling up. And right now, it looks like it's going to start impacting higher elevations by Wednesday for Phoenix. By Thursday, it's a long range forecast. And right now, we're only at about 20%. But look at this. I mean, dropping into play by as early as Tuesday. I think it's going to be more Wednesday and Thursday. But the White Mountains and the higher elevations will start seeing a hint of moisture moving in next week. So I'll keep you posted on that. And also just keep that in the back of your mind as we are still muddling through some triple digits like 101 today in Mesa. I've got 99 in Scottsdale and right at the century mark in Goodyear. This time of the year, 94 the norm, 109 the record. So we're somewhere in the middle. And anytime we've got some cold wind, understand the temperatures overnight are going to come down, and then we'll start feeling it during the day. So tonight, cooling. That's the call as our overnight lows drop down to about 71 degrees. 7-day forecast reveals that, yes, this weekend, oh boy, Flagstaff, look at this. Your overnight lows are dropping into the 30s, holding there through about Monday. But again, rain chances do start developing. For the valley, our temperatures are staying in the double digits, dropping by about 10 degrees with those overnights mid 60s. That means some of our valley cities will be in the low 60s. And next week, again, we do have that rain opportunity developing mid to late week.
Still looking hot down that way in Phoenix, although it is the desert Southwest, so you kind of come to expect that even in early October. Now, where you don't expect to see the heat at all across the Pacific Northwest, well, we're not dealing with any of the heat, but we could see maybe a few showers around, and it looks like some areas of fog here throughout the morning, eventually giving way to a drier weekend. We'll talk about just the few chances of rain that we have here for parts of Seattle and Portland coming up after this. All right, welcome back, everyone. So we are going to the Pacific Northwest now, and we are first going to start off in Portland, where there's fog to start off the day, but it looks like a little more sunshine could be out there by the afternoon hours. And eventually, as we head on into the weekend, at least to start the weekend, some rain and fog around. But overall, should be a drying trend and a bit of a cooler end to the weekend, too. We're going to give you all the details coming up right now in your forecast with meteorologist Rod Hill.
We are having ourselves a Fall Friday in Portland. I phrase it that way because what we had this morning is a reminder that fall gets us back into fog season. You know, like much of the country, you don't see much fog in the summer, but in the fall and the winter months and in the spring, you do. And this is one of our foggier starts we've had so far this early fall season. So a lot of what I'm showing you is a map actually that was valid at 9 o'clock this morning, but I want to take a moment and use it as a learning tool for you. So when you see these visibility maps, which we use to show fog, you know, low visibility, the fog is worse and the visibility is the lowest, right? Where you see the 0.25, that's telling you that the visibility is being reported at a quarter of a mile. The definition of dense fog is a quarter of a mile or less. That's good to know. Where you see well, this was showing 10, now it's showing 9. But if you see a 10.00, that's showing you visibility is being reported as basically unlimited. So all good information. Like I said, we started off with widespread fog in Portland. Downtown Portland has lost the fog. We're actually seeing partial clearing already take place in some areas, other spots still looking at fog, especially down in Salem. But overall, we will become partly cloudy. And the satellite picture is showing, doesn't pick up on the fog, but it is showing that the only spots getting any rain over in Idaho and then southeastern Oregon. So our run of 4 days in a row of some measurable rainfall, as expected, has ended. And we're going to go on looking forward to a really nice Friday. 5 p.m. this afternoon, this is partly cloudy skies, Salem, Portland, Vancouver, and along our coast. Really nice weather. Now, folks out and about this evening will notice increasing clouds. I think during the evening we'll stay dry. But this cloud band from a weakening front that's mainly to our north, but we're getting some clouds from it, will give us the chance of a traceable amount of rain overnight tonight and a traceable amount of rain where you see the green specks at some point tomorrow, mainly in the morning hours. The latter part of Saturday, we start to clear out of that, and then the clearing takes hold Saturday night. I didn't stop at Sunday morning, but Sunday morning there could be some fog pockets or some low cloud cover briefly. Modeling shows we start to pick up an east wind as early as 4 a.m. Sunday morning. That east wind will eat away rapidly at any low clouds or fog we have, so Sunday will quickly go on to just be beautifully clear, which is what we've been expecting. And Sunday, maybe you're coming into town, it's the Portland Marathon. So the weather for the Portland Marathon looks to be absolutely wonderful. Okay, some live cameras to show off. Of course, you get above the fog, typically, up at Timberline Lodge, 6,000 feet, and look at what's above the fog. Nothing, just a deep blue sky. And it's great to see white back on our mountains, right? Remember we had some sticking snow as low as 6,500 to 7,000 feet this week, and Mount Hood looking great. All right, now, still some fog this morning, especially along the Columbia River, which is what you're looking at here from our Vancouver The Springs at the waterfront location. And then Portland, the fog coming into the city has lifted. We've been now partly cloudy to kind of clouds to partly cloudy as these low clouds are in the process of trying to lift and get out of here, which they eventually will. The fog has been stubborn in other spots. Here's Wine Country, our Chehalem tasting room camera. Our valley forecast showing that as we go into the afternoon, everybody's expected to at least be starting to break up the cloud cover. We'll go on to have afternoon sunshine, light west winds, temperatures in the 60s. Same situation up in southwest Washington, Vancouver at 68. And really statewide, once you get inland, you're looking at temperatures primarily in the 60s. Here come our 7-day forecast numbers for the weekend. The impact alert will be gone this afternoon as we get partly cloudy skies, a high of 68. Tomorrow, maybe a trace of rain, but mainly dry, not bad. And then that sunny day on Sunday, 73, and basically clear skies on Monday, Tuesday, and staying dry into Wednesday.
All right, heading up I-5 all the way up to Seattle. The forecast not going to be too much different from what you just saw there in Portland. Some fog out there for the morning, and then we'll see maybe some clearing pockets into the afternoon, but more of that sunshine to come, and only the spotty showers heading into the first half of the weekend. Meteorologist Rich Marriott has the details.
Well, we've started off with clear skies most places this morning early on, but a combination of the clear skies and the cooling temperatures associated with it and the wet ground has caused a lot of fog to form. Bellingham Tower Cam, you can kind of see it out there in the distance. It's beginning to lift a little bit, and there in Everett you can just kind of see some low clouds kind of drifting in, but you get down to the central and south sound and they're down on the ground in a lot of places. You can see we're looking up at them there from our station camera there, looking out towards T-Mobile Park and Lumen Field this morning. You can see the low clouds that have kind of settled in. It was clear just a few hours ago, and it will be clear again in a few hours. There in Tacoma, we couldn't see any of the buildings a little while ago, so it looks like we're in the process of burning that off, and we should end up with a partly to mostly sunny day today around western Washington. Temperatures this morning really did cool down. Definitely felt like fall is here. We saw some places like Port Townsend and Bremerton actually drop into the upper 30s, and a lot of places were in the 40s to right near 50 degrees. So those longer nights definitely letting things cool down when we don't have much in the way of any clouds. Looking at the fire danger over on the east side, we do have a red flag warning going into place at 3 o'clock this afternoon through 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. We're seeing gusty winds developing over there, up to 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Possible rapid fire spread and easy for fires to start, as a matter of fact. Primarily right there around Wenatchee and the Chelan area. We'll also see increased smoke production probably, but the winds will have the tendency to blow that away rather than just having it sit there and gradually diminish the air quality. Checking that first alert 7-day forecast, you can see we do get the sunshine back this afternoon, but it looks like we might see a couple of showers moving in tonight. Very weak system that's going to be brushing us as it drops down from the north. That's going to be continuing into Saturday, where we'll still have that slight chance of a shower for the first playoff game for the Mariners. And then as we head towards Sunday, we do clear out, and we've got a few showers later on in the week. Overall then today, that fog's going to burn off to sunshine by later this morning, this afternoon. We'll have a few showers tonight into Saturday, but as we head towards Sunday and the first few days of next week, we're looking for sun and warm. In fact, highs could push 70, maybe in a few low to mid 70s on Tuesday. Satellite image does show the system moving over the top of the high pressure that's building out here. You see this system? It's much more impressive looking than it is. It doesn't have a whole lot in it. It'll be moving a little later on today, where the clouds will start to spread in, and we're going to be looking for a chance of just a few scattered showers. Won't be that many of them associated with that as we head into the evening hours. And there's a secondary little disturbance up here. It doesn't really show up very well. That'll continue to move through on Saturday, maintaining that risk of just a few showers mixed with sunshine. I think most places around Puget Sound will get through Saturday dry, but we might have a couple of showers out there, and hopefully they will stay away from T-Mobile Park. Looking at the situation over on the east side of the Cascades, if we look at the smoke model, you can see that even though we do have the possibility of those fires flaring up, that the fact that we have the winds blowing, the smoke doesn't just settle in and really destroy the air quality. It should actually, except right in the lee of those fires, it probably is going to improve as we see those gusty winds move in. And we check that, you can see good air quality through the weekend over on the west side. For today, we're going to be looking for moderate in the yellows, and then we do have unhealthy for sensitive groups in a couple of places there that are right near the fires themselves. But as we head into tomorrow, it does look like they're just going to have mostly moderate right in the vicinity of the fire and good air quality elsewhere there in eastern Washington. Checking the temperatures today, we're going to be running mostly in the low to mid 60s, maybe a few upper 60s down in the South Sound. Tomorrow, it looks like we'll see temperatures running a little bit cooler by a couple of degrees, low to mid 60s. And then heading into Sunday, we start to see the sun come out, temperatures reverse, starts to warm up. Temperatures Sunday in the mid 60s to right near 70 degrees, and that warming continues a little bit each day. As we head towards Monday, we're going to be in the upper 60s and low to maybe mid 70s. And similarly, as we head into Tuesday, that should be our warmest day of the week before we start cooling down as we head towards Wednesday, and we see a chance of a few showers starting to move in by later on Wednesday. Temperatures in the mid 60s, and then as we head on towards Thursday, partly sunny with the chance of some showers and starting to cool back a little bit with temperatures in the low to mid 60s.
And for those of you not keeping up with Major League Baseball, the Mariners have a couple of home playoff games, and it is exciting times in Seattle. So hopefully the weather does hold up for that, although they do have a roof over their ballpark, so they'll be fine either way. All right, after this, we will be heading down to the state of California with forecasts from Sacramento and San Diego. Keep it here. All right, thanks for joining us again, everyone. So we're going to continue this I-5 trend and go from Seattle all the way down to Sacramento, where we are dealing with some cool fall-like conditions across the area there, and it looks like we are starting to see some of those fall colors begin to pop there across the area. We're also keeping an eye out for some more active weather across the Sierras. We'll have details for you right now coming up in your forecast with meteorologist Monica Woods.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods looking at our forecast heading into the weekend. It has been a lot of variety for the work week. Cool fall temperatures will continue across our regional headlines along the coast. Dry weekend for the valley. Showers ending for the foothills, but we'll still track the potential of some Sierra storms, at least for our Friday, and then things really start to quiet down and warm up a little bit over the weekend. Here's the tricky pattern that we've been following. We have that big low moving through the Pacific Northwest on the tail end of it, a disturbance that really helped to initiate some of the increased activity for the Sierra in terms of those thunderstorms. As that moves off to the east, again, we will see the clearing skies, and good timing on this. We have some gorgeous color in the higher elevations. Just take a look at some of these pictures that were submitted into our California fall color, really peaking for the higher elevations. Now, for California, generally speaking, that color will start to move its way down the hill into the valley at about a 500 to 1,000 foot pace. So finally, as we head deeper into the season, we'll actually start to see some fall color in the foothills and the valley. Here's a look at our average peak fall color, and you can see it is really starting to peak here right through the Sierra spine, roughly from about Lassen through the Tahoe Basin and then all the way through the central and southern Sierra, where you saw some of those gorgeous pictures. Again, this moves down the hill at a pace of about 500 to 1,000 feet per week, but it all depends on how cool the temperatures are. And this past week accelerated some of those colors popping up. So we'll have to continue to keep an eye on when those colors continue to change. So late to September is when we see that along US 395. Tahoe and California 89, that's going to be in October, mid-October, Lassen, Shasta, and Yosemite. So we're just starting to see some of those colors popping up again, accelerated just a little bit because of the cool temperatures. Late October is when we get into Apple Hill and Calaveras, and then November is when the urban valley forests start to turn in color. That's on average. We'll see how things play out this year. Our Friday potential for thunderstorms includes the Sierra, and that's all the way down along 395, even for the southern Sierra as well. It's going to be a pretty quick hit, though. We'll start to see that move off to the east by the time we get into our Friday evening and Saturday, because you can see that low is going to make a quick beeline off to the east here as we head towards sunset on our Friday. And then it's all about the dry weather, a little bit of an offshore wind event. We're going to keep an eye on that. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to meet that threshold for really increased fire behavior, but something we always watch, especially as these patterns start to take shape during the fall season without a huge amount of wetting rain. We saw that north of I-80, not necessarily south of I-80. Highs for our Friday, near 50 up top for the Sierra. Light dusting of snow even possible for the Sierra heading into our early Friday morning, and again late Friday night could see a few flakes coming through. 50s and 60s down the hill. Now south of Highway 50, we're going to see again the chance of showers and thunderstorms. Highs will only be making it into the 40s and 50s, 70s for the valley, so an unseasonably cool wrap up to this work week. 60s to near 70 along the central coast. We'll see 70s inland as well. Bay Area forecast, we're in the 60s as we wrap up this wet work week, and unsettled weather as well, 70s inland. Moving along the northwest coast, we've got highs in the 50s and 60s, rather cool 70s for the north end of the valley, and 50s over towards Lassen National Park, or right around 47 degrees even, so it's going to be a little bit below 50. 70s for much of the capital region, even a couple of 60s in there for our Friday afternoon highs. Now we will start to dry out and warm up over the weekend, but still unseasonably cool weather continues, back to near average though by next week.
All right, let's continue down this I-5 train all the way down to San Diego, where it looks like there's a pretty decent weekend ahead. Yeah, it could be a bit breezy as you head up into the mountains, but overall the forecast is looking to be very pleasant here into Saturday and Sunday. If you're heading out to the beach, though, could be a risk of some high rip currents. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz with the latest.
Happy Friday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. Here's what it looks like earlier from Hotel Del, a very popular spot for visitors on the Coronado Island. As we wrap up the work week and enter our first weekend of October, we are looking at fall-like conditions for the entire region. We do have a couple of things, though, pertinent to onshore flow making a return, including really high winds. We'll talk about which areas will be under a wind advisory later on today. Upper For now, here are the weather headlines as we exit the work week and say hello to Saturday and Sunday. Overall, pleasant conditions and cool nights are ahead. We are looking at gusty winds, mainly targeting the eastern slopes of the mountains, canyons, and passes over the next couple of days, as well as the desert communities. And when it comes to our coastline, we are still looking at a high rip current risk across our beaches. Taking a look at today's highs for Friday afternoon, daytime highs for the coast and inland valleys will shoot in the 70s. We haven't seen the majority of the inland valleys in the 70s for quite some time, so it's going to be very nice relief that San Diegans have been looking forward to. For the mountain areas, we will top out in the low 70s, high 60s later on this afternoon. Then temperatures will come crashing down into the 40s. So if you're visiting San Diego and you're headed towards our mountains, I would advise that you pack on those layers, because although we're going to be really nice when it comes to the daytime hours, once we get to the sundown hours, temperatures are going to plummet, and it is going to be quite cool into the mid to low 40s. For the desert areas, we'll shoot close to 90 degrees later on this afternoon. As I mentioned, we have a wind advisory issued for parts of the county, mainly impacting the county's eastern half for the mountains and desert areas, all the way towards Imperial County. That takes place tonight at 4 o'clock and will last all the way through early tomorrow at 5 a.m. Here's a quick look at what we're expecting in terms of those wind gusts. Notice a color contour on the right side of your screen and the key on the top right. So those reddish purplish colors indicate where we could have isolated gusts exceeding anywhere between 35 to maybe even 60 miles per hour. And that's extremely dangerous, especially for those who are in high profile vehicles. So the strongest winds are going to be tonight into tomorrow, and that's when you'll want to hold off on travel. All right, big picture, here's what's happening aloft. We have this area of low pressure. It's going to move out of the way. Another cutoff low is going to come sinking down, placing itself just off the coast of Northern California, and that's going to continue to enhance that onshore flow for us come Monday as well as Tuesday. That's going to bring in some cooler air into the mix. As we take a look at highs for your Saturday, we'll top out in the mid to low 70s from Oceanside all the way to downtown San Diego. We'll push closer to that 80-degree mark for the inland valleys for those neighborhoods along the 15 corridor. We'll be in the high 70s from Fallbrook all the way down to Escondido. Meanwhile, really nice in Palomar Mountain, high 60s there, mid 70s on tap for Julian. And tomorrow afternoon, we'll be hitting highs in the upper 80s for Borrego Springs and Ocotillo Wells. Here's what's on tap for the next 7 days. Really minimal changes over the next 7. I mean, we are talking about maybe a slight dip. You probably won't notice a difference early next week. For the coastal areas, we'll get down to the low 70s. For the inland valleys, we'll be in the mid to high 70s all the way through Tuesday, and then 80s rebound looking ahead to the middle of next week. Meanwhile, for the mountains and desert areas, again, we have this day highlighted in red for your Saturday because that's a weather impact day. That's when we'll have some of the strongest winds occurring overnight, and then those winds will really subside into Saturday afternoon. We'll shoot for highs in the 60s and 70s all the way through Tuesday for the mountain communities, and for the deserts will be close to 90 degrees all the way through Wednesday, and then we're soaring into the mid 90s by the time we get to next Thursday.
If you're looking for sunshine and that's more of your vibe, it's never a bad idea to head down there to Southern California in San Diego. All right, so next up, we're going to have forecasts from farther north into the interior Northwest. Boise and Spokane, we're going to talk about forecasts there. Plus, coming up later in the show, there's a new alarming study about one of our nation's keystone tree species. That species provides a critical food supply for wildlife and plays a key role in preserving snowpack. Coming up later. All right, welcome back, everyone. So our next stop will be up into Boise, where we do have rain chances that will be around as we head into the weekend, plus some rising winds as there's going to be a system that makes its way on through. Hector Mendoza has the details.
Hello, my name is Hector Mendoza, forecasting out of Boise, Idaho, and we had lots of rain come overnight on Thursday and through very early on Friday as we had a band of precipitation that brought in some storms and lots of rain there from areas here in the Treasure Valley. So let's just look at some of the precipitation totals that we've seen since midnight on Friday. Over a half an inch of rain hitting here in Boise, and we've continued to see that at least very early on, but that has since tapered off as about 7 to 8 o'clock, and we've hit already past what we normally see, that normal average here in October, which sits around just a little over 0.8 of an inch. We've seen that surpass there through yesterday from 7 o'clock all the way through 7 o'clock last night, and then 7 o'clock early on in through Friday. So again, surpassing that monthly average, and again, seeing over 0.5 inch that fell since overnight and midnight there for Friday. But as we look on ahead, we're going to stay mostly dry here in the Treasure Valley, seeing some of those showers that are going to linger in portions of the mountains here. So we're looking at the Central Mountains, the West Central Mountains, so places like McCall, Stanley, and other places like Sun Valley. We'll continue to see some of those shower chances through the afternoon. We are going to see cooler but breezier conditions that are going to come along here as we head closer into the weekend, and then a slow but steady warm up that comes along as we get towards the beginning of the work week for next week. But as we look at this future cast, we're going to look on ahead through Friday night and seeing some of those showers that do continue, and seeing a chance for some spots that could see some heavier rain. So a flash flood watch is still into place for portions of the mountains as we continue on through 3 o'clock on Friday. But as we look on ahead, we're not really seeing much of that precipitation continuing. Could see that return into the afternoon for portions of the Treasure Valley, but likely staying mostly dry here as we look on ahead, even in through the Magic Valley for today, as we're going to see some of those showers start to pick up through tonight. And then as we look on into through Saturday morning, that's when we're going to start to see that the Magic Valley finally starts to see some of that rain that we've been experiencing in the Treasure Valley and in portions further west of Twin Falls and in Jerome, and we're expecting places like Pocatello and Idaho Falls to see a little bit more of that, and some storms could roll through eastern Idaho through Saturday. We're going to see most of those showers lingering possibly as we get on towards Saturday afternoon and possibly into Sunday, and then some spots as we look on ahead and look over about 6,500 feet to about 7,500 feet, we could see some spots that could see a rain-snow mix due to some of the cooler temperatures that we're going to be seeing. But again, higher elevation snow, not much in terms of accumulation, but could see some of the snowflakes fall there as we look on into some of the mountain spots. But we stay dry all the way through Sunday, and then we are going to anticipate seeing a little bit more of that sunshine there to end the weekend. And again, talking about that flash flood watch, it stays into effect all the way through about 3 p.m. And then we see that for portions of the West Central and Boise Mountains through the rest of the day today. And as we look at the 7-day forecast for the mountains, we are going to see a steady climb in temperatures across southwest Idaho. So we're starting off with the mountains. Temperatures will be back into the upper 60s, low 70s, with a possibility of some showers that could return with a little bit more clouds, as we do have a system, but it's so far out into the future that we are going to start to see a little bit more of that uncertainty as we get into Thursday and Friday, but still continuing with some of that sunshine and expecting that warm up to come along for the middle of the week. Then as we look at Twin Falls, we're going to see those shower chances return there for Saturday. Much windier, as some of those wind gusts could get to about 40 to 45 miles an hour on Saturday here in the Magic Valley. Temperatures will climb up pretty similar to what we're seeing in the mountains, as we're going to stay into those low 70s all the way through Thursday. And here in the Boise area and portions of the Treasure Valley, we'll see drier conditions into Saturday. Breezy winds will continue to subside as we head on closer into Sunday. A lot more sunshine comes along for Sunday and Monday, and then we'll see those temperatures climb up into those low 70s there for Wednesday, and continue with mostly sunny skies all the way through Thursday.
All right, heading to Spokane, it looks like the weekend is looking to be fairly beautiful. We're going to have a decent amount of sunshine around. Now, I will say this, it might be a bit chilly at times too, especially during those morning hours. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick has your forecast.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington, shaping up to be an absolutely beautiful fall weekend for the inland Northwest. Had a bit of active weather, a little extra cloud cover, a little extra rainfall from this week, but that active weather has really subsided for today, and it's just going to be very peaceful and certainly very sunny all weekend long. Sunshine is back, going to make for a great fall weekend. Fall colors really starting to reveal themselves across the region as well, getting almost near peak for our northern areas in northern Washington already right now. And temperatures today will be plenty nice in the sunshine, looking at mid to upper 60s here. This is just a great day where if you're taking a nice walk and you're in the sunshine, it feels excellent. Though you round the corner and get into some shade, it starts to feel cool again. Perfect fall weather, if you ask me. Those temperatures are pretty much near averages. The high's a little bit above at 69 versus 65, but splitting hairs there, it is looking like it's going to stay pleasant all weekend long. The only issue from this morning was a few very isolated spots where it got a little foggy. Few and far between, though. Really, we didn't get any rain yesterday, so where's the moisture coming from? I think it's just physically coming from the river, the Spokane River, which runs straight through Riverfront Park, trying to add a little bit of extra fog at 8 a.m. over Spokane. But if you go higher up in elevation, like at Schweitzer Mountain in North Idaho, I mean, absolutely sunny skies outside. And that's the weather that's going to win the day for the Inland Northwest. The storm system that gave us that recent rainfall from the week just finally drifting and getting pushed off eastward. It will take its rain and eventually the cloud cover along with it. Really, the only difference from this Friday has been it's been a little bit more cloudy in North Idaho versus eastern Washington. The subtlest of details, but they do matter when not much is going on. When we look at the big picture, there will be some mountain showers for Friday and Saturday, kind of around the Pacific Northwest. We're looking at the Cascades and then up in British Columbia to western Montana. But notice this big circle of the Columbia Basin just getting sheltered and protected in every which direction around us. That's why no rain sneaks into the forecast for Spokane, even despite that weak little wave as the jet stream reorients itself in this big ridge shape. Usually, this would mean much above average temperatures. However, now that our nights are getting much longer, we just have more of an opportunity for those temperatures to cool at night when we don't have any cloud cover overhead. Basically, clear skies at night lead to cold mornings. The weekend is pretty much right on the averages. High temperatures mid-60s, low temperatures mid-40s. It's next week when the low temperatures really start to get much colder. Look at this on Monday. 37 degrees is the low temperature forecast for Spokane. That could get pretty close to frost for the first time this season. So if you still have some plants, some flowers that you want to keep alive a little bit longer, A, they either need to be potted and come inside, or B, you have to actually put the tarp on them because it's going to start getting colder, especially in those northern areas where the lows should be below 32 degrees for one of the first times this season. The fall colors are revealing themselves. We're still just partial here in Spokane, but getting near peak for our northern areas here. We will have a slightly delayed fall foliage this year because of the warm September. Really looking at now the second or third week of October for those best fall colors as opposed to the first or second week. We got plenty of sunshine for this forecast.
Yeah, check out all that sun right there showing up on their 7-day. It's going to be a beautiful weekend ahead. And yeah, you're getting that fall-like feel. Maybe time for some of that comfort food if you're going to be home at any point here over the weekend. Yeah, maybe some chili or something. All right, so anyway, we are going to be heading to our national forecast when we get back from the break. And we're going to be talking about more of those rip currents and dangerous surf out towards the East Coast, while at the same time, some warmer than average temperatures across parts of the Midwest after this. All right, welcome back, everyone. So if you have any family out towards the East Coast, or maybe you have plans to head out there this weekend and you're planning on maybe heading to the beach, there's still some dangerous surf with our tropical systems that are now moving away from, but still impacting the eastern seaboard there. We're going to have that in your national forecast. Plus, we're going to talk about above average temperatures in the Midwest and those cooler than normal temperatures here across the Pacific Northwest with meteorologist Julie Martin.
We are still dealing with dangerous surf along the east coast of the U.S. after some tropical activity this week. Unsettled weather in the Pacific Northwest as well, with some storms rolling through and feeling a lot like summer across the Midwest and the plains. So taking a look at those forecast highs here in the Midwest, really warm from Minneapolis to Des Moines, near 90 degrees, 88 in St. Louis. We'll see 88 in Indianapolis, mid 80s as we head into the mid-south, and then fall weather really as we head into the deeper south, places like like Atlanta not really climbing out of the 70s today. Heading up the eastern seaboard, we'll stay very comfortable from Norfolk into DC, all the way up into Portland with the fall weather there and 70s. 90s across Texas, 85 here in Denver, and then the really chilly air confined here to the Pacific Northwest. That's where we're not going to be getting out of the 60s. Pleasant weather, though, in California with the 70s, and then very hot in Phoenix still at 99 degrees. All right, here we see some moisture working its way across Idaho and the Intermountain West, and that is where we could see maybe a few stronger storms develop places like Salt Lake City today. Otherwise, we're relatively quiet. You will notice some moisture here lingering off the Florida coast, and that could cause some very heavy downpours. It's tropical deep moisture, so watch out for some flooding there. All right, here's that severe threat for Friday. As I mentioned, right here in green, Salt Lake City, this is a very low level 1 out of level 5 threat for you, and then across Florida looking at perhaps some flooding becoming an issue because of the tropical moisture settled there. And you see that there in yellow, but it has a very low chance of developing, just a 10% chance of development over the next week. So not likely that this is going to turn into anything tropical, but it doesn't really matter in terms of the rainfall and the flooding threat when it comes to Florida. So we'll keep an eye on that. Also keeping an eye here on a disturbance coming off the African coast here. This is in orange, and you see it does have a 40% chance of developing over the next week. So still too early to tell if this is going to be a little more favorable looking as we head over the next week, but we'll keep an eye on that. Here are your forecast highs then. Seattle, you'll stay in the 60s all weekend. Portland climbing up into the 70s by Sunday. Spokane also in the 60s, as is Boise. And then heading into the southwest, quiet weather there across California. Denver, you're going to see a big drop as a front pushes through, taking you from the 80s down into the 60s for your highs by Sunday. Phoenix stays hot, as does much of Texas with those 90s. And then into the deep south, we do have New Orleans staying in the 80s. You could see a few storms by Sunday. Tampa, that goes for you as well. Cool and comfortable, though, in Atlanta, feeling like fall there with the 70s. 80s across the mid-south, and then warm temperatures, summer actually, feeling like summer anyway, in the upper Midwest. Really comfortable, though, fall, great football weather there in the Northeast with the 70s and 80s.
All right, everyone, so coming up, more on the challenges facing a keystone tree species in the Yellowstone National Forest after this. Welcome back, everyone. So there's a new alarming study about one of our nation's keystone tree species. That species provides a critical food supply for wildlife and plays a key role in preserving snowpack. Denver meteorologist Keely Chalmers explores the concerns with whitebark pine.
Whitebark pine plays a critical role in the ecosystem of the Yellowstone National Forest. It's also, over the years, become the poster child for trees struggling to survive in a shifting climate. It's listed as an endangered species due to disease, massive pine beetle outbreaks, and wildfires.
Whitebark pine is a harbinger of things to come in Colorado.
Ecologist Diana Tomback has studied the tree's decline for years. She knows how impactful not having the tree would be.
The tree, for example, has very large seeds that wildlife, including bears, grizzly bears and black bears, will feed on.
The trees also act like snow fences in those high elevation areas across the west.
Which means it's protecting snowpack and allowing stream flow all through the summer, which benefits ranchers and farmers down below.
But a just-released study co-authored by Tomback, who is also a University of Colorado Denver professor, found the tree is facing a new challenge, a warming climate.
Climate change will reduce the range of whitebark pine by 80% by mid-century. That's 2050.
That's right. Tomback found in just 25 years, warming temperatures will reduce the areas where the critical tree can grow by 80%. And while living creatures do have the ability to adapt to a change in temperature, Tomback says 25 years is simply not enough time.
It can't adapt that fast. So we're relying on whatever capacity for drought tolerance, and temperature these trees already have.
All the more reason, Tomback says, to support the preservation of wilderness areas and national parks so that bears will continue to have that important food to eat. High elevation snow will stay packed and downstream flow will keep flowing.
White bark pine is a poster child of changes that we can expect here in Colorado.
For more than just another few decades. In Denver, meteorologist Keely Chalmers, 9 News.
And that will do it for us for today here on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Adam Claiborne. Thank you so much for being with us here today. We'll see you right back here on Monday. Have a great weekend.